Well, hello, everybody. Here we are. It's almost football season. So we're doing some weeknight live video for you here. Adam Azer and Dave Richard. Really excited to finally get back to doing this. Dave, I'd love to play poker. Maybe we can convince Shaggy B to get the poker games going again.
That would be great. We should get some listeners. Sure, they could be listeners, but also viewers involved. We can get them playing. I could reach out to some of my buddies who are professional poker players and see if they're interested.
Them. I don't like that idea.
Why? You don't want to play against the pros? See if you can beat the best.
I can't beat the best. I can maybe beat the Fantasy Football Today crew. Well, we welcome you, everybody. We're here. Okay. We're live on YouTube, and we thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday night. I don't even know. I haven't been watching the basketball games, but I know you have other things that you could be watching tonight. So thank you for hanging out with us. We did a draft earlier today. It was a half PPR draft. We'll talk about that. Dave, you've been working on defensive grades.
I've spent the last week and change, probably closer to 2 weeks, watching film, going over Pro Football Focus grades, breaking down, where players have played on the field. I've literally looked at 100 different cornerbacks to get an idea of where their primary position is. And everyone will say, you idiot, they're cornerbacks. But no, left cornerback, right cornerback, slot cornerback. Do they have multiple roles? What about the safeties? Which linebackers are getting coverage? But I've graded every single defense on 3 categories: pass coverage, pass rush, and run defense. And the reason why I do that is so that I can take this information, grades that I really think are viable, plug it into the NFL schedule, and get an idea of which offensive players, the guys that we're going to draft, have easy schedules or difficult schedules. There are people that do a strength of schedule thing just based on last year's win-loss records. That's terrible. And then there's some people that use Vegas win totals. That's smarter. I think this is a smart thing to do too, where there's an actual evaluation of every defense, the depth involved, and then you plug it in the schedule. Let's see who's got a good schedule and who doesn't. Now, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far as to figure out which teams have the best schedule for 2021, which teams have the easiest schedules early on. But I do have the grades for the defenses. We can talk about any defense you want.
Well, who's number one?
Well, that's the other thing, is that I haven't actually put together which one is number one, but I would say that Denver is going to be very close to the top, along with Tampa Bay. Denver and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay will probably be the number one defense.
They return every starter. That's never a bad thing.
They're actually better now than they were last year at this time.
Why Denver?
Because I love what they did with their secondary. And I'm a big Vic Fangio fan to begin with, but the fact that they have added pieces to that secondary, Kyle Fuller fell in their lap, Pat Surtain in the draft, I think, fell in their lap too. And they've got a great pass rush with Bradley Chubb, Von Miller. Their run defense is a little bit of a question mark, but I think they'll be pretty good as well. That's going to be a tough defense for sure.
All right. We've got your questions here. Send them on in. How about from SJ Lax 5? In my league, the champion, this is cool, Dave. The champion gets to make a rule. That's fun. I'm adding a second keeper. I'm already keeping Darren Waller in the 8th round. Should I choose Aaron Jones in the 2nd round or A.J. Brown in the 6th round? Aaron Jones in the 2nd or A.J. Brown in the 6th? Somebody named Derek Richard replied, A.J. Brown, waste of a question.
But it was the first question, so it gets answered. I agree with my cousin Derek. I think Brown is the better keeper, especially if you can keep him for a while.
Here's someone just named Richard. This is weird. Does the addition?
It's the same guy. It's Derek Richard, isn't it? Isn't it the same little picture?
No.
No, it's not. All right, then it's just a different Richard. Okay.
Wrong. Does the addition of Curtis Samuel limit the upside of Antonio Gibson or Terry McLaurin or both?
It could potentially. It could absolutely potentially. And I think it would hurt Gibson a tad more, like his reception upside. Yeah, I don't know if he'll ever reach any higher than maybe 50 catches over 17 games. But I think where he could really hurt them is just red zone production. That's where he did a lot of his work with Carolina. I'm sure it's going to be a factor this year. But we also know that Ryan Fitzpatrick loves to target that one downfield receiver. Samuel isn't it. It's McLaurin. So I think McLaurin has a chance to do just fine this year. And I think Gibson's going to get his fair share of touchdowns and carries and catches as well.
I am having trouble pulling the trigger drafting Curtis Samuel. He does not excite me in the.
What round is this problem happening in?
he's always gone. I mean, I'm not taking him. He went in our draft today, second to last pick of round 7 in a 12-team league, before Deebo Samuel, before Marquise Brown, before Jerry Jeudy, Jarvis Landry. This was half PPR. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I guess I'd consider. I'll see if I took a wide receiver at any point there. I took no, this wasn't wide receiver time for me. I took John Brown like 15 picks later. I just don't. I don't know. I don't see how he has a great season. He's obviously not as good as Terry McLaurin. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna line up in the backfield. He'll get a few carries, but
well, if he doesn't line up in the backfield that much, then Washington is not using him the way that they should.
No, they have Antonio Gibson. They have J.D. McKissick. I don't think he's going to get a lot of snaps out of the backfield. He's a wide receiver.
He had 41 rushes last year.
Right.
Over under 41 rushes this year.
Oh, under. He wouldn't have had 41 rushes if Christian McCaffrey played. Christian McCaffrey had stayed healthy. And
sorry, 1 second. Handing my son a charger. He needed a charger for his phone. I don't have one. He's looking for the cube.
I don't know.
The car.
I don't know what's happening right now. I'm gonna go.
Sorry, I'm having a conversation with my son. So you don't think he's going to get 41 carries?
Do you?
I think if Washington uses him the right way, he could.
That's really not that much. That's 3 a game.
I agree. It's right.
So
it's less than 3 a game if he plays 17 games. All right. So then you go to his cat. He had 97 targets, 77 receptions. The year before in Carolina, this is when Ron Rivera was there. 100 and Scott Turner too. 105 targets, but 54 catches. So maybe that's where we've got to put the spotlight for a second. Is he going to be used like he was 2 years ago, or is he going to be used like he was last year? We can't answer that.
Last year he was a top 30 wide receiver, but just as a receiver, he wasn't really anything special. But he had 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right, and honestly, that made all the difference in the world, because if you look at his numbers in 2019, when he really didn't do a lot rushing the football, he had 757. I guess he did a little bit rushing at 130 yards. Total of 757 yards and 7 touchdowns. He followed that up last year, 5 touchdowns. That went down 1,051 total yards. I mean, that's a number 3 fantasy receiver. Right. Yeah, right. I think if you're drafting him before round 7, I think you're a little late. Round 7 seems to be the time to take that spin on Samuel, because I don't think there's upside for him to be a top 24 receiver. I think if you draft him, he's a number 3 receiver, and that's pretty much going to be it. There are probably other receivers that we can look at in this draft and go, okay, those guys have a little bit more upside than Curtis Samuel.
Here's one that I think Dave is going to enjoy talking about. I don't really feel comfortable saying the screen name here, so I'm just going to read the question. What kind of split do you guys see between Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake?
What's wrong with his screen name? Karkaman.
That's not how it's spelled. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
what kind of?
I see what you mean.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but you got to be very, very safe these days. Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake. What kind of split do you see?
I think Jacobs is going to be the primary running back. Wouldn't surprise me in the least if Kenyon Drake worked in obvious passing situations, because I think Gruden has just made it very clear, just based on the actions of the last 2 years, that Josh Jacobs isn't trusted in obvious passing down situations. And I know that last year Kenyon Drake did not do a lot as a receiver. Look in the years prior, he did. He's got a couple of seasons where he has a lot of receptions. I also think that Drake could eventually unseat Jacobs as the preferred short yardage goal line guy there. Not to say that it's going to work that way at the beginning of the season, but if you go back and you break down all the carries that Josh Jacobs had from 3 yards or closer, I think he converted, and this is anywhere on the field, Adam, he converted about a third of those carries. Kenyon Drake, same thing, about 40% of the carries. In goal-to-go situations from 3 yards or closer, Jacobs was 5 of 16. He had 16 tries at the end zone, and he only scored on 5 of them. Drake, I believe, was 8 of 19. So he had a higher percentage there. I believe that Kenyon Drake isn't going to take away low-value touches. I'm worried that he's going to take away some high-value ones, the receptions, the touchdown ones, and that's going to hurt Jacobs. You tack on the offensive line. 3/5 of that offensive line, I believe, is new starters. That's the facts. And I think it's going to be tough for Jacobs to really have the kind of year that he had last year. So I think he regresses this year. And Dre, I said this on the podcast today. He's one of those running backs that I don't mind having on my bench this year.
I'm not going to make too much of a guy of the short yardage stuff. You know, they played on different teams behind different lines now.
And with different quarterbacks, let's be fair.
Oh, right. That's a huge factor here. I mean, you have to account for Kyler Murray in those short yardage situations. Just to let you know, I'm looking now at the run blocking grades for both teams, Cardinals and Raiders last year, and nearly identical. Cardinals were 24th, the Raiders were 26th. But I remember last year going, man, in 2019, Nick Chubb was basically the worst short yardage running back in the NFL. He had the negative 15 yards or something like that on his carries inside the 5-yard line. It was crazy. Maybe Kareem Hunt gets that role, but that's not what happened. So I'm not quite sure yet that there's any stickiness to that stat. It just could be a 1 year, small sample size thing. I still think Jacob's going to get more opportunities for rushing touchdowns. He'll have more rushing yards. He'll have more rushing touchdowns, but you're right. I mean, Drake is definitely going to be a factor in the passing game. There's a lot to unlike.
And what happens if Jacobs goes through a cold streak?
Yeah.
Now they have an option that's better than Devontae Booker.
Right.
To help them out there.
Question from Josh Alvarez. Can I give Adam a haircut?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah. Every night my wife cuts my hair. I'm like, she doesn't.
No. Wait, hold on. Can we review the statement you just said? You just said every night my wife cuts my hair.
Every night, and then I paused aside. My wife cuts my hair every night. We're like, you got to cut my hair. We're gonna do a haircut tonight. And it just always gets pushed back because of other crap. So it was supposed to be tonight. I'm hoping for tomorrow. No, she has plans tomorrow. I'm hoping for Thursday, but it's gonna happen. But
what would have to happen to let me cut your hair? How big of a bet would I have to win?
It would have to be a big St. Jude donation for you to cut my hair.
On it.
So
we are on it.
We are.
When you say big, are we talking like $30?
At least, I think it's got to be like at least.
It's got to be 4 figures.
It's got to be, maybe. I was gonna say $500. All right,
we can work on this. We can work on this, guys.
From IK Ben something. Who are your top 3 players to avoid this year? Top 3 to avoid.
Jacobs will probably make that list. I'm really just not interested in drafting him when other people are going to draft him. I think that he could end up being a bust. In fact, I'm looking at my rankings right now. I see him ranked out of Chris Carson. That's something I'm going to have to reevaluate. And he makes me nervous. I don't really intend to draft him. I don't want to draft Melvin Gordon. I think Melvin Gordon is going to be at best a platoon running back in Denver. Not going to know from week to week how he's going to play. He wasn't very consistent last year, and I don't think he was very consistent the year before either. And Javonte Williams is there. I'd be more interested in drafting Williams than I would be in Melvin Gordon. And I'm just looking at running backs. That's probably like the top 2 names at running back that I'm really just not loving, not feeling them. Maybe all right. I don't know if I'm going to stick to this or not, but I'll say it. I am a little nervous about Najee Harris after I've seen him go top 15, top 20 in redraft.
Today.
Yeah, where did he go today?
Late second round.
I'm not going to fight with that. I'm okay with that.
22nd overall.
Yeah, I guess maybe 20th overall would probably be exciting. Like I've got him 25th, so I'm not going to quibble over 5 spots or so. But maybe it's that top 15 ranking where people are just rushing to. They're giving him the same type of treatment that we all gave Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year, and I'm not doing it to be gun shy over what happened to a completely different running back on a completely different team. I'm still a little nervous about this Steelers offense and how they're going to operate, because that offensive line is, I don't know. It's not what I'm used to seeing from the Steelers.
Yeah, no, for sure. I right now am avoiding George Kittle, and I don't really think anyone has said that.
What's the reason for it?
Well, I think he's like Gronk in the sense that he's the best tight end in football, but he's also extremely physical and more likely to get injured than I'd like, more than most tight ends anyway. And I think its track record bears that out. For some reason, in Kyle Shanahan offenses, I still think he has not had any player on the 49ers catch more than 5 or 6 touchdown passes. It's really strange. you've got an emerging Brandon Ayuk. You've got a really good Deebo Samuel. And if you get Trey Lance in there, you've got a lot fewer passing yards and probably fewer passing touchdowns. I don't think Trey Lance is good for George Kittle in year one. So I don't think I'm doing it. I don't think I'm doing it with. I can't say that. I mean, look, I'm going to have probably about 10 teams. I like to have Kittle on at least one, but he's not someone I'll be targeting. I won't say I'm quite avoiding him. He's just too good. I think he's the best tight end in football.
But when the decision comes to you in your draft between Waller and Kittle, I think you're making it clear that you're going to take Darren Waller.
I am going to go Waller, but it's really more like Kittle went one pick before my pick. I took DK Metcalf. Then it was Keenan Allen. I would take Metcalf and Allen over George Kittle.
I would take Waller over Kittle too. And it's really for all the reasons that you said. You mentioned his injury track record. Of course, that doesn't mean that he's definitely going to get hurt this year. It's just something to be mindful of. I think what they got out of Ayuk last year and Deebo Samuel the year before won't be forgotten. And if Trey Lance is the quarterback, yeah, you're right. Like there will be fewer pass attempts. He's going to run it more. Kittle already isn't getting a ton of touchdowns to begin with from season to season. How many is he really? What are the odds that he's going to be able to get 8 touchdowns if Trey Lance is the quarterback? I would be a little nervous about trusting him to get that, especially knowing what the track record is of Kyle Shanahan players, pass catchers anyway, in the offense. So I'm with you on that one. I think Waller's the better tight end, but I'm not ready to put Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts ahead of Kittle.
That'll never happen. There's no way.
Probably not.
There's no way for me Kittle would be anything lower than tight end 3. It's really a matter of the running backs and the wide receivers that I'd be passing up for Kittle. I don't think I'd do it unless it got to the middle of the 3rd round. I would take him over Terry McLaurin. I'm not quite as high on Terry McLaurin as you guys. I do love Terry McLaurin, but it's almost bothering me that people are so high on him that I don't think I'm going to end up getting him. All right, Dave, we got a ton of questions. This is our first one of the off season here, and I'm just thrilled to see the response. So let's go a little faster here. From Brian MC, is Mahomes the number 1 overall pick in a Superflex redraft league?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Really?
I think so.
Okay. Easier to make that case in non-PPR. Once you start throwing PPR in there, McCaffrey is going to be hard for a lot of people to pass up. But a lot of people will take Mahomes number 1 for
sure. The problem is that if you pass up Mahomes, what type of quarterback is going to be left when it comes back to you in round 2?
Very good quarterbacks. Are you kidding me?
But they're not going to be like Patrick Mahomes.
Of course not. But what kind of running backs are going to be? They're not going to be like McCaffrey.
There will be. Well, listen, it depends on how you think the rest of your league will draft. Are they going to draft a lot of quarterbacks, or are they going to draft a lot of running backs?
You're not getting a top 6 running back 24.
Of course not. There's no chance of it. But you might get a top 12 running back, and you might get a top 12 quarterback too. It's probably more likely on like the top 10 quarterback versus a top 12 quarterback. No, maybe you take McCaffrey if it's PPR. It really depends on how badly you want to have
Russell Wilson,
a great quarterback.
Russell Wilson?
I bet Wilson goes before the end of round 2 in a Superflex. Right.
Next question is from Rez KX. Is Deshaun Watson a trade target in dynasty leagues?
Yeah, I think he'll play football again. Could be as soon as week 1 this year. Could be as soon as week 1 next year. We just don't know.
Okay.
But if the team that has Deshaun Watson is distressed, and you've got a draft pick that you can part ways with to get him, and you can afford it, your team's good otherwise, then you could go for it.
I'm going to tell Renaud Leroux that you are doing the right thing. Keep Stephon Diggs and Deontay Johnson. Do not keep Juju Smith-Schuster earlier than either of those 2 guys. Juju in the 3rd, Diggs in the 4th, Johnson in the 13th. It is absolutely perfect. Diggs and Johnson. From Josh Alvarez, who wants to cut my hair. Does Matthew Stafford help Cam Akers become a top 10 running back?
I think so. I think it's going to be a little easier for him to hit that in non-PPR than PPR, but I do think that Akers is a capable pass catcher. We just didn't see a lot of that last year. This offense should pop a little bit, and certainly defenses will be on red alert for better passing from the LA Rams, and that'll make it harder for them to stack the box against Akers. Akers did a good job anyway. When he had Jared Goff as his quarterback and the boxes were stacked to begin with. So I think that Akers has a chance. I think it might be a little hard for him to get like 1,500 total yards, but double-digit touchdowns I think could work for him. He could get I think he'd get like 10 rushing, 1 receiving on the balance of the year. And I think Stafford could have a pretty good year too. And that's one of the teams that, without doing all the fancy analysis that I've done, I think the Rams have a really good schedule this year. I think things set up really nicely for them.
This is from Mr. TAOCS, which, just you want me to say Mr. Tacos.
Right. That's how I'm
Mr.
thinking about it down here.
Pick 102.
I'm pointing to my stomach, by the way. I don't know if you could tell. Tacos.
I didn't see that. Pick 102 and a 2022
tacos
first rounder. Are you listening?
Something about a first rounder.
Yeah.
First round chorizo taco. Yes.
Pick 102 and a 2022 first rounder, or Terry McLaurin and pick 108.
The 102 and a 2022 first rounder.
From Travis Cooper, half PPR, one quarterback, keeper league. Keep 4 out of this list. There are no rounds attached. Zach Moss, James Conner, Tariq Cohen, Tom Brady, Tua, AJ Dillon, Benny Snell.
You said Blake Snell.
I did. These are.
Do I have to keep 4?
Wow.
Do I have to keep 4? That's my first question.
It's the first 4. It's Moss, Connor, Cohen, Brady, right? Or maybe no. You know what?
Well, here's the thing. If you can keep them long term and you've got a lot of benched space, we're talking about 17 player rosters, I wouldn't mind carrying AJ Dillon for a year just to see what happens this year.
Let's say you can't. Let's say it's just for this.
It's just for 1 year.
I'd keep Dillon over.
Gross.
Cohen. I'll tell you why I'd keep Dillon over Cohen.
Cohen's upside is who knows what in a half PPR.
Nothing. Yeah. Dillon is an injury away from being a must start every week running back.
Mm-hmm. And Connor could be good in Arizona if he can just stay healthy, and he's got to win over the coaches there to play a lot more than Chase Edmonds, but he's got a chance to do it. And Moss has a chance in Buffalo, his second year there. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to play a lot more efficient than he did last year.
Okay, let's read a couple more here from JoJo. Not a couple more, a lot more. How would you like your first 3 picks in a PPR 10-team league to look like? Pick number 2. Map out his first 3 picks, picking second in a 10 PPR league.
Dalvin Cook. Well, honestly, I'd like somebody to take Dalvin Cook first, so you get Christian McCaffrey. But assuming McCaffrey's gone, Dalvin Cook would be the pick. You come back in round 2. And if both Waller and Kittle are there, you're going to wait to take one of them in round 3 because it's highly unlikely that the person picking in the 1 slot is going to take both of those tight ends. If only one of them is there, you have to take that one there. And then you come back in round 3 and you take the best available running back. So a combination of running back, tight end with those first 3 picks.
I am starting to warm up to Jamie's been saying it over and over again. 3 running backs with your first 3 picks. Mm-hmm. In a 12-team league, I had the 3rd pick today, and I took Kamara, and then I took Najee Harris, and then I almost took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I went with DK Metcalf instead. So that, there are so many things you could do with that second pick, but I think what Dave said is right on.
I think if you've got 3 running backs, if getting 3 running backs with your first 4 picks isn't necessarily a mandatory thing. I did that in the draft that we did today. I had a late first round pick, got Chubb in round 1, Mixon in round 2. I think Allen Robinson was my pick in round 3. And then I got ETN in round 4. And I love that. I just love not having the pressure of finding running backs that I can feel good about starting later on. And, I get the 0 RB theory. I like the you need to try and find a tight end theory a little bit more, but I couldn't pass up Mixon versus Waller in round 2, and I knew that a tight end wouldn't make it back to me in round 3.
Yeah, late round 1 is not a great place for a tight end. You're
unless it's Kelsey.
You're praying for Kelsey. If he doesn't get there, you're probably not getting a top 3 guy.
No, you'll have to hope for Andrews and Hawkinson in round 4 or 5.
Hit like right now. Smash the like button. We will pay for the damages. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. All right, that's our goal, 100 likes. So please hit the like button right now. All right. This is from Tommy. I feel like Travis Etienne is a bust. I have the second pick. This must be rookies.
Mm-hmm.
I want to draft Chase, but I know how much more valuable a running back is. Can you convince me on ETN or Javonte Williams?
No. In fact, I think you should take Chase. I think he's one of the safest players. He's probably the safest player. No, probably about it. My opinion is changing by the second, Adam. He is the safest player you could take in a rookie-only draft. Love the skill set 2 years ago when he was rolling at LSU. Obviously, he didn't play last year. I think he can do it all on the football field. I love that he's already got the chemistry down with Burrow. I'm sure they've already been talking about the plays that they're going to run. Burrow knows how he plays, how fast he runs, so the timing should be down quickly. He is a special talent, and he's somebody that I genuinely see as a 10-year starter in fantasy football leagues.
From Michael Smith, I have 10 keepers. It is PPR. No tight end. No tight end required here. The first 7 are set. So figure out my last 3 keepers. Leonard Fournette, James Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, Laviska Shenault, and Juju Smith-Schuster. So he's got Fournette, James Robinson, Jeudy, Shenault, and Juju. Pick 3 in a PPR league.
I think Juju's got to be one of them. I think Jerry Jeudy's got to be one of them. And I think James Robinson is probably the third over Fournette long-term. If you really just need a running back for this year, I don't know, Adam. I think you agree with me that the signs point to Fournette being the first guy up for Tampa Bay, and that if he struggles, then they'll go in a different direction. But being the first guy up for Tampa Bay doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be an every down back. I think Giovanni Bernard's going to put an end to anybody being an every down back for the Bucs. I think if you need a running back badly, you put Fournette in for Robinson. But I don't mind seeing what happens to James Robinson and checking out what he does long term.
Okay. How about from...
And then if you've got the number 1 pick, like I'm with you on taking Chase just because he's super safe, but if you've got Juju and Jeudy as keepers, and I don't know what the rest of your running back group looks like, but if it's not great, that's the perfect time and spot to take Najee.
Oh, man, Pat from Ohio. What is up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, Pat? It's been so long.
Well, he's, I didn't know this. Mike Trout's out 6 to 8 weeks. That sucks.
Who is Mike Trout?
Yeah, you should. He said, I know this isn't what the show is about. Yeah, but that is disappointing. I have him on one fantasy baseball team.
The White Sox lost Aloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. I think
Eloy Jimenez.
Thank you. I will call him how I wish to call him, which is really what I really should call him is superstar hero. Please marry my daughter. I think the Angels can get by. The White Sox lost those dudes for like the season.
Yeah.
At least the Angels will get Trout back.
Well, also
he's on the Angels now, right? He's not like on the Astros or Nationals.
Yeah. He's the second best player on the Angels. They have arguably the 2 best players in baseball.
Ohtani, right?
Yeah, he's a marvel. He's incredible. I think does he have 13 home runs? Is that what I saw? And you're
asking me.
Yeah, he has 13 bombs, and he hit one from probably his chest level yesterday.
I saw. He's incredible, and they suck. I don't get it. So anyway,
he's no Yerman Mercedes.
Good job, Mr. Tacos again. Oh, that was a reply to someone. All right, let's go to Renaud again. Renaud, half PPR says, my friend. Oh, asking for a friend, huh? I didn't know that trick, Renaud. My friend can keep Jonathan Taylor with a 2nd round pick, Keenan Allen in the 3rd, Waller in the 4th, Fuller in the 5th, Lamb in the 6th, Moss 8th, Jeudy 9th, Higgins in the 16th.
Oh, that's tempting.
Pick 2. All right, so let's eliminate Fuller, Lamb, I think.
I think you can eliminate Lamb, but that's a close one.
All right, we're going to eliminate Fuller, Moss, and Jeudy, and I'll read the options again and pick 2. Taylor in the 2nd, Allen in the 3rd, Waller in the 4th.
I've got my answer.
Lamb in the 6th, Higgins in the 16th.
It's Taylor and it's Waller. And I know there's amazing value with T. Higgins, but there's pretty damn good value with Taylor and Waller as well.
This is from Bruce. Keep 1, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Travis Kelce, or Stephon Diggs.
If it's for just 1 year, it's Kelce. If it's year to year to year and you can keep one, it's Mahomes.
Okay. From From Brunson East, Watson and Mike Davis for Winston.
Oh, you got to trade for Winston.
For 105 and 305. Winston 105 and 305 you're getting. And Davis.
So that 105 pick is going to be either Waddle, ETN, or Devontae Smith in pretty much every single rookie-only draft. And I think Winston and 305 are kind of like, So you're trading Watson and Mike Davis for one of those rookies. And I'm of the belief that Watson will eventually play again. I like the Watson side better.
Okay. From Bruce Adam. What can I expect in return for Devontae Adams in a dynasty trade?
I think you'll still get something very good for him. Wouldn't surprise me if you got as high as 104, so the fourth pick in the rookie draft. And maybe even something on top of that for Devontae Adams, because he's just such a reliable starter who you think will continue to play well for the next several years. It's a question about who that quarterback's going to be. I think if you can get 104 for him right now and you don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers staying or going, you'd probably just take it.
If you're enjoying the stream, this will be fun. If you're enjoying the stream tonight, if you're having fun like we are, leave a comment. Just comment, Dave, in all caps. Dave, if you're enjoying the stream. Let's see how many Dave comments we get. From Matt Marson, what rookie wide receivers would you be targeting and avoiding in round 2 of a Superflex rookie draft?
Read it to me again.
Yeah, round 2 wide receivers in a rookie draft, Superflex. You got your pick there. It's probably only gonna be like 5 or 6 receivers in the first round, right? So,
we know that Chase Smith and Waddle will go in the first round. Chances are Terrace Marshall, if he doesn't go in the first round, he would be early second round. I would grab him. Who would I avoid?
No. Who would you take? Who would you take?
Oh, who am I taking?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Did he say if it was full PPR? I'm sorry to jump around on you. I'm looking at the Daves. I like Elijah Moore. I think long-term he can be at least a very good slot receiver for the Jets, if not the number 1 receiver for the Jets. I think Kadarius Toney's got talent. I really do. I know that the quarterback stinks right now, and the offense might not be imaginative, but I think he's got some talent. I like him. Rondale Moore and Rashad Bateman, 2 very different receivers, 2 very different types of opportunities. I've got Moore ranked higher in my dynasty rankings, but you could see it eventually maybe happening for Bateman. I just don't like the landing spot for him there. And then if you just like cheap targets, cheap volume, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari Rodgers, those are 2 guys that, at least assuming the quarterbacks stay the same in both Detroit and Green Bay, they could be in the neighborhood of 50 catches as rookies.
From Lorenzo, in my keeper league, would you take Lamar Jackson or Travis Kelce?
If it's a keeper league for 1 year, it's Kelce. If it's for forever and ever and ever, I think you've got to consider Lamar Jackson. You don't have to do it. You can still go with Kelce, but I do like the idea of having Kelce or Jackson like for the rest of his career.
All right, everybody, by the way, keep hitting that like button. We're at 62. Let's get to 100. Let's see, from IC3 something or other. Which rookie receiver, including Pitts, has the best year 1 value?
Chase would be the best. Pitts would be next. Devontae Smith would be next. Waddle after that.
Ryan Bayer says, how important is getting 2 quarterbacks early in a Superflex?
I don't mind doing it. My preferred way, though, is to get 1 good quarterback early. And then once you get to like that, like 10 to 15-ish range in the rankings of quarterbacks, I like to try and get 2 quarterbacks from that group. And so I'll have 3 on my squad. I don't really want there to be a weak quarterback on my team. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily have to have like 2 studs. Like I'm not going to spend my back-to-back picks in a Superflex on would Lamar Jackson even make it there? He might not. Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson. And then I'm good at quarterback for a while. I don't like that. I would rather have Dak with like my first round pick, second round pick, whatever. And then I wait maybe 2 rounds after that. And then I hope that someone pretty decent, a Roethlisberger, a Mayfield, someone with upside like Wentz could be there for me when I get to round 5.
I remember in our 2-quarterback league, 12 teams, I remember being so mad last year when Sam Darnold went one pick ahead of where I was going to take him because I really didn't prioritize quarterback, or maybe I wanted him to be my third quarterback. I don't remember.
Who'd you get instead?
Let me see where Sam Darnold went. Will Brinson took him one spot ahead, and I took Nick Foles. That's right. I took Foles.
You were a loser either way.
But I knew Trubisky was going to be the starter, and I took Foles anyway. And then I made a trade with Heath. Oh, I ripped him off. It was amazing. I'll find it because he had this thing for Trubisky, I think.
He did, yes.
All right. Year 2020.
Him and Ryan Pace.
All right, hold on. I'll find it. All right, Dave, let me go back to the questions and I'll find it.
Please.
Okay. From Rod. Love the show. Curious if you think any quarterback with a new offense or new weapons has a chance to make a big jump. Can you sell me on Tua Tagovailoa being valuable?
So when I've done some research this offseason on what helps make a quarterback breakout, and I went back over the last 5 years and I studied each quarterback that had a season where they did take a step forward. What did these quarterbacks have in common? Number one, they had improved protection from the offensive line. They weren't under pressure as much. That always helps any quarterback. Two, they either had a new wide receiver help them out. You can think about Stephon Diggs going to Buffalo, or they had a receiver break out from their own team, a guy that took the leap himself. The third factor that was consistent with all of these quarterbacks was that they improved their intermediate passing between 10 and 19 yards. Their adjusted completion rate was improved from the year before to the breakout year. And that was something that we had a hard time seeing with Josh Allen because he was just so wayward with his passes until last year. He put it all together. How did he help do it? He had better protection. He had more time to throw. The offense gave him more opportunities. I should mention that attempts matter, and that he had a better receiver to throw to with Stephon Diggs. Apply that to Tua, who last year was not a great passer in that 10 to 19 yard range. But look at what the Dolphins have given him. They've given him Will Fuller. They've given him Jalen Waddle. Waddle is the perfect receiver to get open and help Tua connect on those passes between 10 and 19 yards. And that offensive line should still be pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be so good that, Tua will have 6 seconds to throw every time he drops back. But he'll have an opportunity. He'll have a chance to really have that breakthrough season. Now, I think that Joe Burrow, by example, has a much better chance of having that breakthrough season than Tua does. But Tua you can wait on draft day, and you can just slide him on the back of your bench, and you can just wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that he's like the best value compared to Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Hurts has a chance to do it too. Getting Devontae Smith was really big for him.
Yeah, it was.
And that offensive line getting healthy too.
And Tua, right. I mean, the Dolphins wide receivers, according to ESPN, they were one of the NFL's worst teams in receiver separation and yards after contact in 2020. So the Dolphins knew what they had to do. They gave Tua some nice speedy weapons. And how about Tua or Carson Wentz? Wentz goes to a new offense, gets a huge upgrade at offensive line. Hopefully Michael Pittman can break out a little bit. Otherwise, he's not really going to have. I don't think T.Y. Hilton's a great receiver anymore, but maybe I'm counting him out. I don't know.
Pittman is the kind of receiver that Wentz has gravitated toward in his career.
Who would you rather have, Tua or Carson Wentz?
And by the way, when Wentz had his breakout year, it was Alshon Jeffrey's first year in Philadelphia. Just pointing that out, a little FYI. I like Wentz better. I think there is something left for Carson Wentz. I think he was really frazzled by the offensive line falling apart. And I think the receiving core in Indianapolis is going to be better. And I think the game planning will be better for him in Indianapolis.
I traded Mitchell Trubisky because I drafted both Bears quarterbacks.
This is in your 2-quarterback league from last year.
I traded Trubisky on September 6th. So before the season started, right?
Yes.
Or maybe it was after the Thursday game. I don't know. I traded Trubisky to Heath in a PPR league, 3-receiver PPR league for Jamison Crowder. Slam.
What a blockbuster. What a move that just shook the earth.
Yeah.
How did you do in that league?
I think I came in like 7th Let's see.
Shocking that you took both Bears quarterbacks and you finished in
Those are
seventh
not my
place.
only quarterbacks, Dave.
Did you have 3 other quarterbacks? Because you were wasting 2
I had
roster
Jared
spots.
Goff and Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. That's a 7th place team.
That seemed okay on draft day. It didn't work. But
I think my team sucked in that league, too.
I had McCaffrey.
I remember having to start Taysom Hill at one point.
I had McCaffrey in that league. I had Jonathan Taylor. I thought this team was going to be my best team because I lucked out with Jonathan Taylor. You never know. You never.
So now after experiencing that, does that make you want to take quarterback sooner in Superflex?
In a Superflex league, I would like to get a top 7 or 8 quarterback and then another, if possible, top 12, but if not, top like 14 or 15.
Yep, sure.
Two in the top 15. And
I mean, you could almost make it 2 of the top 22 quarterbacks. I mean, would you be really that upset if Kirk Cousins was your second quarterback?
No, I like Cousins.
Okay, what if it was Ryan Fitzpatrick? Would you be upset?
No,
I wouldn't either.
Okay, let's get some more questions here.
Hold on one sec. I got a cough.
Okay, from Kevin.
My apologies, everybody. That was unpleasant.
Kevin Piche, 10-team Dynasty League. What would I need to include to trade from 104 to 101?
Probably a good starter off your squad. I don't think throwing in your second round pick with 104 will get it done. I think you need to give a good, emphasis on good starter for someone to go and move out of 101. I think 101 is that valuable this year.
Okay, from Super Rolled 21, I have pick 102 and 110. It's Dynasty PPR. Should I trade them both for Jonathan Taylor? 102 and 110 for Jonathan Taylor.
The 110 is kind of negligible. It's going to be a good player. Might be Trevor Lawrence, but it's not somebody amazing. So you're basically trading your chance at Najee Harris or Jamar Chase for Jonathan Taylor. Ooh, I really do like Taylor, but I don't think I would do it. I think I'd rather have 102, knowing that I'm either getting Chase or Harris, or Pitts if you like Pitts, but I would go Chase or Harris, I think, and still have that 110 pick.
Okay, and by the way,
could you counter with 110 and a first round in 2022 for Jonathan Taylor?
Think about that.
If someone will do that trade, they still get 2 first round picks for Jonathan Taylor. Now we're talking. Now you've got Taylor and whatever you do with that 102.
Or if you've been listening to the show lately, you can make a conditional trade where you give 102 and 110 for Jonathan Taylor. You have to only get him for 1 year. Then you give him back. And if he does well, you have to throw in 2 more first round picks.
No, that sounds terrible and like a lot of work.
Okay. By the way, I hope you're enjoying our first Q&A of the off season. If you want us to start doing these regularly, please comment FFT. Comment FFT if you want us to start doing these Q&As regularly. Pretty easy.
Derek made a request, Adam. I don't know if you saw. My cousin Derek Richard made a request in the chat. Well, if you can find it, it says, Dave, show up a flying elbow. Think Macho Man. So next time we're together, I'm going to cut your hair. And I'm also going to give you a Macho Man Randy Savage style elbow off the top rope. Ooh, yeah. Adam Azer.
Only if it's for charity.
Having a cup of coffee in the fantasy football big leagues. Yeah.
Oh, man. We got a lot of
energy tonight.
FTs. Good, man. Josh Alvarez again. Should I go with Pitts or Najee Harris at 101?
Well, I think you've also got to include Chase in that mix too. And this is where I really think how you want to build your dynasty squad. If you're thin at running back, take Harris. If you're thin at wide receiver, take Chase. If you're good at running back and receiver, I think you can make the case for Pitts. Let's say you're terrible at all 3 positions. What do? I think the safest is Chase. I would take Chase.
Okay, Evelyn Ruedas. Evelyn, you typed your question like 7 times. Evelyn. Dave, no? You know that one, Evelyn?
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. There's no crying in baseball.
Is that the person who cried?
Yeah.
That's not the name of the movie, by the way.
I know the movie. It's A League of Their Own. But he goes, Evelyn. Evelyn, and its finger wags her over. It's amazing. That is everybody knows it's great, but nobody talks about it when they talk about the best sports movies. I'm going to say it's one of the most underrated movies of all time, and Ben Schrager's never even seen it. Evelyn wants to know 10-team PPR. I can keep 2, Mixon in the 3rd, McLaurin in the 4th, Dobbins in the 5th, or ding, 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 Taylor in the 6th. Okay, we're keeping Taylor in the 6th. So, Dave, one more. PPR, Mixon in the 3rd, McLaurin in the 4th, Dobbins in the 5th.
Oh, I'm so tempted to keep Dobbins. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep Mixon. And maybe I'm a sucker for falling for Mixon again, but it sounds like he's got a chance to get a workhorse role in Cincinnati. That's an offensive line that's trying to get better and an offense that should be a lot better. And a defense that's not better, by the way. Not that much.
From Simplistic Grace. When should I start a league to schedule a draft?
When should you start a league to schedule a draft? I always like doing drafts after, well, I used to say after the 3rd week of the preseason, but that was back when we had 4 preseason games. Now the belief is that the 3rd preseason game, the dress rehearsal game, will be the 2nd preseason game. So I would go for a draft after the 2nd preseason game. It can be before the 3rd preseason game, which is basically when we watch backups play for 4 quarters.
From Do It. Where do you see Traquan Smith in your rankings?
Very late, but I think he's got a place. He's somebody who's in the mix to be that number 2 pass catcher in New Orleans. It's not as savory of a role as it was before because of the quarterback change. And if Taysom Hill starts, it's really not a role that you want at all. But he's a late round pick.
Okay, this is from Fear God and Love Him with All Your Heart and Soul. When is
advice.
When is everyone targeting quarterback this year?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty broad question. I think a lot of people, and let's just talk 1 quarterback leagues, because I think the answer is pretty obvious in Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues. I think the general public still likes to take quarterbacks earlier than the fantasy analysts like us, the diehard podcast listeners, the people watching on Livestream. In the past, I used to say, just wait on quarterback, you'll find a good value. I feel like if you can get one of those top 7 quarterbacks, and maybe even if it's the 7th quarterback, but you're doing it by round 5 or later, I think you're winning. And you'll have a beat on just how fast quarterbacks will go off the board in your league based on rounds 1 and 2, because you're probably not going to take a quarterback in round 1 or round 2 in a 1 quarterback league. And if it just comes to pass that it's the end of round 4 and the top 7 quarterbacks are off the board, well, at least you still know that you can find a quarterback that's got potential to get you 22 fantasy points per week at a later point in the draft, round 5, round 6, round 8, whenever you want. And you could also get 2 quarterbacks. You can get one in round 6 and you can get another one in round 11. And that one in round 11 could be Trevor Lawrence, and he could end up having a really good year.
I'm struggling with quarterback. I had a pretty set strategy of top 7 quarterback and top 6 tight end, and I'm wavering on it a little bit. There are some players, running backs, that I kind of want to draft in the 5th and 6th round, like maybe a Chase Edmonds, Javonte Williams, or something like that. That preclude me from fulfilling that strategy. So,
but would you rather get one of those running backs that, as good as they are, they've got limited upside?
No, I don't agree.
A quarterback that could be there that can help you win your league. Like the quarterbacks, if you can get Dak Prescott in round 5 or Justin Herbert in round 5 or 6, man, those guys have potential.
So does Tom Brady, though. So I don't agree that Javonte Williams has limited upside. I think if he can overtake,
that's a huge if, Adam.
He has limited upside for the first month or so of the season.
I'm nervous that the Broncos are just going to insist on using 2 backs no matter what.
No, certainly. I think for me, it's like I don't really know how much of a difference I feel there is between Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, and Tom Brady, who's probably going to be Brady and Burrow. You know, it's like 12, maybe 13 guys. Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow. I could get them 5 rounds later. So that's a hard thing for me to pass up. But because Brady's amazing, he's going to throw 35 to 40 touchdowns. I mean, different in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. My strategy would actually change quite a bit in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. I would definitely gravitate towards one of the mobile guys, but 6 passing touchdown leagues, I don't want to go I'll just take Ryan Tannehill or Matthew Stafford. I'm not there. I think there's a difference between Burrow, Brady. Burrow has mind-blowing upside this year.
He really does. I agree.
So it's hard. It's just hard. I kind of waver on it, but I'll figure it out. I'll see where the chips fall and see. I'll do a lot of mocks. That's the thing. Do a lot of mocks. See how you like your team.
Yep.
Yeah.
The one other thing I'll say, like when you look at the year-end numbers, Brady averaged 25.4 fantasy points per game. That was lifted by what he did in weeks 16 and 17. He had 37 points each of those weeks. You take those 2 weeks away, he averaged like right around 23. And 23 is still good, especially if you're drafting that quarterback late. But I want a quarterback that's got 25 plus week to week.
He does, though. I think he's better than 23. I mean, it was the first year. It took them a while to get going. His deep ball was terrible. Mike Evans was hurt. Chris Godwin was hurt. Then they throw in Antonio Brown. Now they're all back. The band is back together. The continuity is going to be much better. Second year in a Bruce Arians offense. I mean, this team is returning every starter. They're probably going to win the Super Bowl again. I'm sorry, everybody. And he's going to be a big part of it. And I don't like their running game. So, I am pretty hopeful for him. You feel that? You feel that year two Arians optimism?
I think there's a chance that it could work that way. Sure. They're going to be a competitive team. Their defense is going to help them be competitive. And Arians does like to throw the ball a lot. One other point I'll make, and this is just to your point. Once Antonio Brown got there, here are the fantasy point totals for Tom Brady. This is between week, what week is it? Week 10 and the end of the season here. I lost it, but he had 37 points in the first full game with Antonio Brown. 37, 16, 27, 19, 27. And then the two I mentioned at the end, 37 and 37.
Yeah, one of those 37s was in a hat.
Yes, it was.
Right.
It's the Lions. Yeah.
So
Blaine Gabbert had 18 fantasy points in that game.
God, Detroit was terrible. Okay, so
Still are.
Let's read some more questions. We got about 8 minutes left.
Okay.
Schnush. Which running back will be a league winner for round 3 and later?
A league winner at running back in round 3 or later. You might see Joe Mixon fall into round 3. You might see Edwards-Helaire fall into round 3. J.K. Dobbins could fall into round 3. And David Montgomery might be able to do it again. I'm starting to warm up to Montgomery. Maybe being the lead guy for Chicago.
Well, he'll be the lead guy for Chicago.
But I'm talking about like runaway lead guy. Tariq Cohen, not a factor. David Montgomery getting lots of touchdowns, getting good receptions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. From Nick, would you trade away Dalvin Cook to get 1.1 and J.K. Dobbins in PPR Dynasty League?
Yeah. Oh, my God, yes. I love Dalvin Cook, but that is a very strong return for him.
From David Lee, legendary Nick David Lee. No, not David Lee Roth. Gentlemen, did I give up too much for Trevor Lawrence? I'm really old at quarterback in a 1 QB Dynasty League. I sent Trey Lance, Kenyon Drake.
Too much.
No, it's not.
Go ahead.
Trey Lance, Kenyon Drake, and Devontae Parker, and a second-round pick for Trevor Lawrence, T.Y. Hilton, and a third-round pick.
Okay. It's not as bad as I made it sound. I've got a two-part answer. Part one is I think Trey Lance has almost as much upside as Trevor Lawrence. I just think Lawrence has the pedigree that Trey Lance just doesn't have, and Lawrence might pay off sooner. I guess the other pieces of that deal aren't so bad. The second point is I'll argue that David Lee Roth didn't actually sing any songs for Van Halen. He yelled them.
Guess what, Dave?
What's that?
I don't like Van Halen.
You know, Eddie Van Halen's one of the best guitar players of our time.
Yeah. I just don't really care for the music so much. The songs. The music, I guess.
Some of their songs are outstanding. I just don't know how many with David Lee Roth.
What songs do you like?
Yelling. I mean, Right Now is an awesome song.
Yeah, Right Now is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jump, like, no.
Yeah.
I like it. Anima.
Yeah, that's okay.
That one fires me up. Okay, next question from Derek Richard, 14-team Superflex.
How many questions from D. Rich are we going to get?
Victor Ryan. It was funny. Okay, from Hectic Electric. Is Gibson a 1-2 turn pick?
Yeah, I think he could go in that range. Yeah,
he did in the draft we were referencing earlier.
Mhm.
Najee Harris, he went 24th overall, 1-2 turn. From Evan, full PPR. Which round should I draft Julio Jones?
In a redraft, he went round 3. In our half PPR today, he went in round 3. I'm good with that.
From Adam Let's Chin, J.K. Dobbins is going to break out this year. That's all.
Man, I hope so. I was showing off my chin to Let's Chin.
Yeah, well, I'm Adam.
Now we're chinning.
Adam Let's Chin. But yeah.
Hey, I like where he's coming from, but I think in order for it to really happen, Gus Edwards has to get out of the way, and Dobbins just has to play incredibly well. He's just got to just dominate in terms of efficiency. He's got to get at least 15 touches a game one way or the other. They've got to really make it a point to feed him, which would make sense. It would make a lot of sense for them to do that because that takes pressure off of Lamar Jackson. I just don't know if they'll do it.
Schnush wants to know what kind of music I listen to. So
The Bengals.
Let's go. It's a manic Tuesday right now. My most recent search songs on
Yanni.
Spotify. Black or White by Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Bad Medicine by Bon Jovi, but that's my son likes that one. Also the Spider-Man theme song by Michael Bublé. For me though, that was my son. My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. Colors by the Black Pumas. Got You Where I Want You by the Flies.
Mm-hmm. I know that song. I know 2 of those songs.
And that's pretty. Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car.
Oh no.
Yeah, I love that song. And then I went on this indie pop mix with Phoenix and There's No Rain by Blind Melon. That's one of my favorites. You should listen to the album A Place in the Sun by Lit. You know that? You know My Own Worst Enemy?
Yeah, I know that song.
Great album.
Yes.
So that's it. Okay, round 1 or 2 for Swift.
2.
Yeah. That's it. I think we're done, dude.
He might be early round 3 in non-PPR. Cortland
Sutton. What do you think? That's from John. This is our last question here.
I think he's got a chance. I like that the rehab seems to be going well. I think I think just the fact that Jerry Jeudy had such a sloppy rookie year gives him an opportunity to still be the lead receiver for Denver. He'll remind Aaron Rodgers of Devontae Adams.
You got 2 minutes to get us to 100 likes. We have 89. Smash it. Smash that like button. Let's see what's going on.
We got to give them something to make them want to smash it, Adam. We got to make them. This is when you need to cut your hair.
Stream next Tuesday night.
We promise to what?
Do a stream next Tuesday night. At
7 p.m.
If we get to 100 likes, there you go.
100 likes.
What a shame to be the Hornets and to be, get that 10 seed, get in the playing game. They are losing 84-60 right now. That's a shame.
Things are tough.
Well, I want to thank Ben Schrager for setting this up and all of you guys out there and girls for joining us tonight. We very much appreciate it. Oh, 98. Let's go. Oh, what a win. Woo! Yes.
Nice job, guys.
All right.
Well done. Much appreciated, too.
Buzzer. Good stuff. All right. Hey, thanks so much, people. We'll see you next Tuesday. Of course, we'll have another podcast for you on Thursday. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to Ben. I am Adam. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.